Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Master Builder Show, sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. I am your host, Jim Gibson, president of Gibson Home Builders Incorporated. I am a registered builder in the state of Texas, a graduate master builder certified by the National Association of Home Builders, a current member of the National Green Building Council, Texas Association of Builders, and the National Association of Home Builders, and also Greater Fort Worth Builders Association. I am the past president of Parker County Builders Association. Today's topic is going to be Xeriscape, and that is landscaping to conserve water. I've got some guests on the show today. I've got my wife here. Hello, Jean. How are you this morning?
I'm back by popular demand.
There you go. And also we've got Leon Campbell with Native Shade Tree Farm. They're located at 7351 Farm and Market Road, 1886, out of Azle, Texas. And you can reach them on their phone numbers, 817-444-2977. Also, we have Kevin here. Kevin Campbell, I believe that's your name.
Yes.
How are y'all this morning?
Doing great. How are
Doing
you?
Great.
Well,
very pleased to be here.
Y'all specialize in Texas native trees, correct? Or
Yes, that's right. Most of the species we carry are native to Texas or adapted to Texas.
Okay. This show's designed to educate and answer any questions people may have on construction, and part of the construction process is landscaping, of course. And Xeriscapes is a way to put in plants and stuff that are native to Texas that take very little water and little maintenance. We will answer any questions that you might have. You can call us at 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. And if you need to check out a builder or remodeler, you can go to www.masterbuildershow.com, and it'll take you into my website, and you can click on the TRCC link and check out your builders there. Anyway, Kevin, tell us a little bit about y'all's business.
Well, we started out about 4 years ago, turning the farm has been in our family over 100 years, and we started about 4 years ago turning it into a tree farm. And we carry about 7 varieties of trees right now. We're not landscapers. We grow trees.
Grow trees.
That's it.
What's one of the better trees to plant here in Texas?
Well, actually, my father would be better off answering those than me.
What's the number one tree?
Well, the trees that are most popular in Texas, and let me clarify one thing. When you talk about Texas, you're talking about a state that is, of course, bigger than most countries. So in the state of Texas, one particular plant may do very well in one area and not worth a hoot in another. Texas is home to over 50 different species of oak. Now, that doesn't mean that you can plant oaks in El Paso and they'll do well. So there's a lot of variation in the type of soil, the pH of soil, and of course the amount of rainfall they get. So around here, the most popular landscaping trees are live oaks and red oaks. One of the problems with those trees is that they're both very susceptible to the oak wilt that unfortunately has plagued our part of Texas for quite some time.
How contagious is oak wilt? I mean, if somebody in your town has oak wilt, are the chances good that you're going to get oak wilt on your oak trees too?
Not necessarily. The primary way that oak wilt is spread from tree to tree is through the root system. When the trees grow in close proximity to one another, then the root systems graft together. So it's one continuous root system. And the other way that this fungus is transmitted from tree to tree is via insects. And if you get a broken branch on a tree that is a member of the red oak family, and I want to emphasize that red oaks and live oaks, although they're very different in appearance, are members of the red oak family. So if you get a broken branch, that tree will begin to exude some sap from around the area in the bark where it's broken. Insects like to feed on this, and so if they have been on a tree that has oak wilt and they have this fungus on their feelers, their antenna, and their legs, they will transmit this to an uninfected tree. Okay. And so if you get a tree that is of the red oak family, and primarily I'm talking about red oaks and live oaks right now, then if you get a broken branch, you need to cut it off with a sharp saw and treat it with a pruning paint to keep the insects off that wound. And something else you can do is in your paint, you can mix in a little insecticide that will repel the insects.
Is there certain? I know there's certain times of years you're supposed to prune trees, or certain times you're not. And I've heard you're not supposed to prune any live oaks or any oak trees during the growing season, like in the summer months, and wait till sap drops. Is that true?
That's absolutely correct.
But don't trees keep growing in the winter? I think I had a wonderful conversation with you on the phone, and a couple of things I want to back up on. I misunderstood. I thought oak wilt was a bug. But you're saying any insect. So it's not a specific bug that you can kill off. Any insect can pick up this fungus and move it around.
That is correct. It's a fungus that gets into the vascular system of the tree. And the vascular system is that area right underneath the visible bark. That's where the nutrients flow to the foliage.
Yeah.
And this fungus will, for lack of a better term, clog up the pores of this area right underneath the bark in the vascular system of the tree, and the tree literally starves to death from a lack of water and nutrients.
All right, looks like we've got to take a quick break here. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
YourCircleOfWealth.com. A recent study by one of the world's largest financial institutions estimates that over 90% of baby boomers will not retire financially independent. We have prepared a financial report entitled Your Circle of Wealth. Learn how changing the way you manage your money can dramatically increase your wealth. To get a copy, you may go to www.yourcircleofwealth.com and enter the passcode Gibson, Gibson. That's yourcircleofwealth.com.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties with selections of interior and exterior lighting fixtures. They also have ceiling fans, vanities, and mirrors in all styles. A lighting consultant will help you with your decisions. To make an appointment with Fort Worth Lighting Consultant, you may call 817-597-6320 or visit us on the web at ftworthlighting.com. That's 817-597-6320. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guests today are Leon Campbell and Kevin Campbell with the Native Shade Tree Farm. Also got my wife here, Jean Gibson.
Come on.
Yeah, she's here to...
The thorn in his side.
That's right.
And when you listed all your credentials, I was listening to that thinking, I have none.
Oh, yeah, you've got your CAP certification, remember?
Oh, no. See, it's a process of aging. I forgot all about that.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, during the break, Leon and Kevin and I were talking about things that we need to look for, and he was talking about something very important, like if you're doing some trenching. And Leon, you want to kind of tell us about that?
Sure, Glenn. I'd be happy to. The something that is very important anytime that you're doing any trenching or any kind of work around, especially around your trees. If you're going to be trenching in an area that you may get into the root system, it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you cut a few roots, it's not a big deal. But one of the things that you want to make sure of is that the trenching machine that you're using or a contractor is using has been thoroughly cleaned and disinfected with a bleach solution. What that does is if there's any of the oak wilt fungus on this machine, the bleach will kill it. But it's very easy for that disease to be spread from tree to tree and site to site on contaminated machinery, and that also includes hand tools. So if you're in an area where that you're digging up a tree that has oak wilt, make sure that the equipment that you're using is completely disinfected, because this is something that is very easily spread from site to site and tree to tree with contaminated machinery and tools.
Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead.
I have to ask questions when it hits my brain. How big an area around a tree would you? When are you out into a safe zone? If I'm going to put in plants, if I'm not under any of the drip line of a tree, am I outside the root system? We're covered with red oaks. We have oak wilt.
That's kind of hard to say, really.
Okay.
The root system of a tree is going to vary in size from location to location, depending on what kind of soil the tree is planted, or not only planted, but grows in terms of its nutrient levels. Also, if it's rocky, it's going to go a lot further with its root system to gather moisture.
It'll be much more shallow and broad if it's very rocky.
And the root system of a tree, I might point out, is primarily about 18 inches below the surface. Now, there are other roots that go down that anchor the tree, but those that serve to gather moisture and nutrients are usually within about 18 inches of the surface.
Outstanding.
Yeah, you were saying also, Kevin, that if you're planning on building a house or starting a house or starting construction house, and you've got a lot of machinery coming up and moving around the house, if your contractors inadvertently or accidentally break off a limb or something, they need to either tell you about it so you
Absolutely.
can treat it, or they need to know what to do to prevent any disease coming into the tree.
Well, a lot of people will plan a new house around some beautiful trees.
Yeah.
They'll try to nestle the house in there, and sometimes you get a contractor in there working with a skid steer or something like that. Mm-hmm. If they bump a tree and hit a branch and don't treat it, as we were talking about earlier, about getting a clean cut on it. If they break a branch, you want to take a chainsaw and cut it clean and then treat it with that pruning paint. If that's not done, then suddenly a few months later, when your house is finished and everything, then you've got a nice, beautiful house with a diseased tree there that may not live.
Well, oak wilt is kind of a slow kill disease too, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it can infect a tree and take several years to kill it. Or
generally, that's not true.
Not true.
On a live oak, it will take anywhere from 6 months, 3 to 6 months to kill it. On a red oak, if it gets the oak wilt, then you need to start figuring out where you want to stack the firewood, because it will die very quickly. The live oaks tend to hang on a little longer. Sometimes they'll even come back for a while. They'll lose all their leaves and they'll resprout in a kind of a sparse fashion.
Right. That's where we are now. You and I were discussing that earlier.
Yeah. Let me point out one other thing about the contractors and building houses. One of the things that oaks and trees in general are susceptible to, and especially oaks, and more particularly when you talk about oaks, it is the post oak, which is very common around here. You have got to stay off the root system of these trees with machinery, because it will compact the soil. Once that soil is compacted, then the tree cannot get the two things, actually the three things it needs the most, which are the same as people: water, nutrients, and oxygen. And you've got to keep the machinery off the tree, or you're very likely to lose it. The premium that you paid for that property you're likely to lose it when you start losing those trees. And compaction is very much a problem in a building situation.
Yeah, we did a house over here in Burleson that was Rivers Tree Services, and they took out a lot of trees, and they had the city contract on working around the botanic gardens and all that stuff. And what we did, he had a lot of post oak out there, and we had to we roped off areas, and we actually made lanes with the ropes down through the trees. And anybody that crossed those lines, he was out there. I mean, he was out there on them in a minute, because we had skid steers, we had we had some pretty good sized dozers out there, and we kept them confined to a particular area and only made them drive on those areas to keep it from killing those.
That's an excellent idea in any construction area when you're doing that, especially if you've got trees that are going to be really close to the pad site, is to fence those off with snow, like that orange barrier fence or something, just to completely keep people away from it.
You can't go back later and loosen up you're saying they feed it 18 inches down. Can't you go back and And aerate the soil.
You're damaging them when you run over them, is what I understand.
Well, you can do that.
Oh, the compaction does the damage, not the continued compaction, the immediate result.
Yes, it will. If you get all, if it's just a small area around the tree, you're likely to be okay. But if they're driving all around the tree, parking their vehicles under it,
parking skid steers and heavy machinery,
then you're asking for trouble, and it's much easier to prevent this than it is to cure it.
Something else to bring up is there are the red oak. We're kind of going doom and gloom here on the with the oak wilt, but there are alternatives to the red oak family that do very well in this area, and that's there are quite a few different subspecies of the white oak family that do real well in this area and are not susceptible to oak wilt. And so if you're looking to plant trees, those are good things to consider because this is a long-term investment. When you're planting a tree, obviously it's a very long-term investment. That tree will be there, if it's well taken care of, it'll be there long after we're gone.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all have
I'd like to mention, if I may, is the Mexican white oak. It's a fairly recent introduction to the area and is probably largely unfamiliar to most people. But it is an evergreen oak. And it originated in Mexico, I think, in the Monterey area, and it was adapted to this area. And we have had real good luck with those. They're evergreen, have a large leaf, and are a rapid growing oak.
Okay, looks like we're coming up on another break. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes.
The best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County. Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
YourCircleOfWealth.com. A recent study by one of the world's largest financial institutions estimates that over 90% of baby boomers will not retire financially independent. We have prepared a financial report entitled Your Circle of Wealth. Learn how changing the way you manage your money can dramatically increase your wealth. To get a copy, you may go to www.yourcircleofwealth.com and enter the passcode Gibson, Gibson. That's YourCircleOfWealth.com.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving the building professional in Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties. The services include planned takeoff, site walkthrough, and delivery. To make an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, you may call 817-597-6320 or visit us on the web at ftworthlighting.com, 817-597-6320. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guests today are Leon and Kevin Campbell of the Native Shade Tree Farm. And I also have my wife here, Jean Gibson, and she's over here pointing her finger at me.
He has to get things right because I go home with him, and if he isn't nice to me on the air, his life is murder for a week.
Okay, during the break we were talking about treating the, I guess it's mandatory to treat the red oak. But on some other species and stuff like that, it's not necessary to paint.
That's right. Jim, one of the things I mentioned a while ago in terms of painting a wound with pruning paint, I'm speaking specifically of the red oak family, which is the one that is susceptible to the oak wilt fungus. And for other trees that where you take off a limb, you don't need to bother with the pruning paint. That went by the wayside quite a few years ago. But with the oaks that we're talking about, it's important to paint that over to keep the insects out of the little ring of sap that exudes from that wound, because that oak wilt fungus will attach itself, or it will get on the wings and feelers and legs of these insects, and it's transmitted to the tree like that. But for other trees, you don't need to bother with a pruning paint.
Okay. It's primarily the red oak and live oak, anything in the red oak family. Okay. And live oak is part of the red oak family.
Okay. And you were talking about some other trees to plant. We're talking about the Mexican white oak.
Yeah, the Mexican white oak is something we've had good luck with, and I mentioned it just a few minutes ago. Another tree that we're going to begin planting this year is the Shantung maple. I get a lot of calls from people wanting maples. Now, there are a lot of maples out there, and a lot of them will not do well in this area. They'll just die a slow death. Now, the Shantung maple comes from a region of China that has very similar growing conditions as to here within the radio audience. It grows in alkaline soil, which we have. It gets along fine with very sparse rainfall, which we all know we have from time to time. We're either manning the boats, or right. We're shopping around looking for a camel maybe to drive to work. So it's in this country of extremes. Then you need a tree that grows in this kind of area that we have here, and that Shantung maple is an ideal for this area. It is also has been designated as a Texas superstar tree by Texas A&M. A beautiful fall color, yellow to bright red foliage. It's a fast grower. It's not a huge tree. It gets about 25 feet tall, maybe 20 feet wide. It's ideal for many settings because of its compact size. It doesn't grow to be a giant like many of the oaks. And another great tree for this area, and again, it comes from China, is called the Chinese pistache. Oh, and it has beautiful fall foliage, very similar to the maple I just described. And it is a fast grower. In the early stages, in its first few years, they are described as variously as awkward or a little ungainly, kind of an ugly duckling. They don't have the beautiful shape, goofy. But it grows into a fantastic shade tree. And again, it's not real huge. A great setting, or a great tree for a small setting in a yard. And there's one other tree I'd like to mention that we are going to start carrying, and it is called a Mexican elder. And this tree originated in the desert Southwest. They do very well in El Paso. Me and my family used to live in El Paso, and this tree does fantastic out there. Once it is established in the landscape, it is very drought resistant. Loves water. You're not going to hurt it with water, but it's very drought resistant. Has a very compact shape. It's much like the maple. If you find a 20-foot Mexican elder, it's huge, but it makes a very good focal point in a small setting, an alcove in the yard. It's great. It's highly adaptable, too, to pruning. You can make kind of a bonsai shape out of it. Very interesting shapes.
You called it Chinese pistache, and I always heard them called Chinese pistachio. Is it actually pistache and not pistachio?
It is pistache, is the actual name, but some people say pistachio. It's not,
Really,
that's the same tree. Either way, it's the same tree that we're talking about.
Okay. You can spell it wrong and it still comes up.
Yeah, and they're still beautiful in the fall.
But excuse me, but I didn't catch what's the coloring on your first maple? Is it a green tree that?
It is a green tree. During the summer, it's a green.
A light green, a deep green.
It's a medium green.
And then you get regular old New England red maple colors.
You get that beautiful fall color that everybody wants, but unfortunately, with the native trees in our area, they go from green to brown. The only thing different is the red oak. Now those are very noticeable in the fall. You can pick them out on a hillside because of the brilliant red color, and this Shantung maple is very much like that.
Very good.
What about the chinkapin oak, or what?
That was and that's something
that's
else.
One of the members of the white oak family that I read earlier.
You gave me some wonderful links for my research when I first talked to you, Leon. Are these links for these trees for the Texas Superstar? I gather is A&M's site.
Yes, it is.
Are these links on your website?
Not yet. We are just getting our website up, and I'll let Kevin talk about that just in a little bit as soon as I kind of rein myself in. But the chickapin oak is a great oak. Like I said, Texas is home to over 50 different species of oak, and many do well in this area. And Kevin, if you want to talk about the website a little bit. Oh, one other thing I might mention that is an excellent website is the Parker County Master Gardeners Association. They have all kinds of links on there to Texas Superstar, Xeriscape, fantastic source of information and gardening on flowers, trees, shrubs, anything that you'd like to plant in this area, they will be able to help you out.
You explained to me this morning, too, because the first thing we did when we moved to Parker County, I got my little pile of dirt from multiple locations in the yard and headed for the Extension Service, which is right up here on Highway 51. And it cost, it was I'm thinking $15 or something. It was so inexpensive.
Well, a soil analysis is absolutely essential for any serious gardener. I'll give you an example of that. On our farm, we have a place out there on Farm Road 1886 has been in our family about 115 years, 240 acres. It's not all planted in trees, but
not
yet. Anyway.
We're working on it.
We're working on that. And from looking at a Department of Agriculture satellite view of that property, there are no fewer than 20 different types of soil on that property. And we even have large changes in the soil from 50 feet this way, 50 feet that way.
Within one field,
within one
vastly
field.
Different
and so it's that soil analysis and also your water. Both are crucial. Let me tell you something about the water. Around here, we hear two different aquifers mentioned: the Paluxy, and then below that is the deeper aquifer,
the Trinity.
The Trinity. The Trinity is a salty aquifer. It is fantastic water for household use. When I say salty, you'll never notice it. You won't taste it. But if you have a deep well down that 400-foot range and your house plants aren't doing very well, it's because of your water. Now, the Paluxy is down around 150 to 200 feet. Fantastic source of water. So the water that you put on your trees is absolutely critical. Just like that soil analysis, you send off your water and have it tested. And the most important thing in that water is going to be the EC, or the electroconductivity of the soil, which has to do with how much salt it is in there.
We had a house in Granbury, and we was on the water. We built it and moved into it and lived in it a couple of years. And what we did in the latter part is we had a sprinkler system put in off of Lake Granbury. And I don't remember what kind of ground cover you had in the front yard there. But,
Jasmine.
Anyway, what we did, we started watering with that lake water, and it's got a high concentration of salt. And what it did, it just wiped out all of our ground cover.
There were other plants, too, because we were on a slope.
Well,
and so we did ground
water
covers. On that lake water, though, it was a huge variety of plants that lake water killed off.
Well, I'll tell you why. That is the stream that feeds Lake Granbury is the Brazos. Now, the Brazos is fed from West Texas from three major tributaries, and one of them is called the Salt Fork of the Brazos River.
Oh.
So the entire Brazos is salty. I had a wooden boat on Possum Kingdom for about 10 years. And Possum Kingdom is a fantastic lake to have a wooden boat in because of the salt content of the water. It tends to pickle the wood.
Well, they had crabs living they've got them in Granbury. My daughter-in-law, my granddaughter, we were out fishing off the dock one day, and she caught a stump, and I pulled that stump in. There was little bitty crabs crawling all over it, and I was going, freshwater crabs? Well, they're not freshwater. They're we caught them and stuck them in an aquarium. And
then went online and did our research.
Yeah, and they died in a few days because we didn't use the lake water, and it didn't have any salt content in it. And but anyway, I found out since then there's 5 or 6 lakes here, and they're all on the Brazos River run here that have those crabs in it, and they're quite a problem because they stop up vents and stuff.
They're not big enough for a meal.
No,
I mean they're the size of an eraser, on a pencil. That's all.
All right. We were talking about Chinese pistache, the chinkapin oak.
There's another one that's of the white oak family that's also a good one, is the bur oak. And it's,
okay.
So we've got three varieties of oaks, specifically of the Mexican or the white oak family, that do real well in this area, and that's the Mexican white oak. And like I said, that is somewhat unique to this area. You don't see a tremendous amount of that. So it's something a little bit different. The bur oak and the Jacobin oak are all white oaks.
Well, the bur oaks you see around the Botanic Gardens down there, they're huge. They grow up, 50, 60, 70
Yeah,
feet.
it's one of the larger oaks.
Got the big,
they
big
do get when you plant a bur oak, you need to plant ahead because the tree will get huge in proper growing conditions. It's also a fairly fast growing tree. And as far
Define
as,
fast.
I'm sorry?
Tell me what fast is and moderate is.
Fast, moderate.
At 60, am I going to see a bur oak at its full height in my lifetime?
No.
Well, that's fair, isn't it?
All things being relative, for an oak, it's a fast-growing tree.
Okay.
Well, let me put it this way. If you plant a tree, plant a bur oak, actually most trees will grow fairly fast if you put enough water on it. The most important thing you can do for a tree is water it. Trees are very good at getting the nutrients they need from the soil. Now, you can put a little fertilizer on it in the spring and fall. Nothing crazy. Like a triple 14 would do just fine. Slow release is fine. Like an Osmocote, it's more expensive. It's a very good fertilizer. And there are others as well, but that happens to be one that I use. And if the tree gets enough water, it will put on an inch of trunk diameter per year. So at 60, if you think you're going to make it to 80 or 90, well, in 30 years, you'll have a trunk that is about 30 inches in diameter.
Wow.
So and that's also assuming you've got some at least reasonably decent soil conditions, and remains fairly pest-free and this sort of thing.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Excuse me, babe. But the watering, too, that you talk about, is this specific to that first year or two of growth?
It is especially critical for the first two growing seasons, because if you take a tree and plant it in the soil, we kind of learned this the hard way. We had all of our little saplings that we were going to plant 4 years ago, and we're a little behind on our irrigation system. So we said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll just go ahead and plant these in the ground, then we'll run our irrigation system. Well, we had kept these small trees wet. They were in gallon containers, and they are planted in a soilless media, pine bark, a little sand, vermiculite, things like that. And so they need watering frequently. And the first thing that happened when we put these little trees in the ground is the surrounding soil just sucked all the moisture out of the root ball. Oh. So we're out there hand watering at 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to keep these trees from dying while we're running the irrigation system.
It was indeed fun for the whole family.
Yeah,
yes.
It was a family.
The family
affair.
who waters together.
Oh yeah. I was real popular there for a while because that was my idea. So
I have great ideas too.
Yeah.
We've got a fairly large piece of land, and this year we put in 100 and something trees. I got a little carried away, so for Christmas Jim gave me holes, which I think should come with every tree.
Absolutely.
But we had to haul water. We didn't have an irrigation system way out on the edges of the property, and we've been hauling water. You mentioned the water gator to me. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, there is a product called a tree gator is really what it is. It's a plastic polyethylene kind of bag that holds about 15 to 20 gallons of water. And you just set that around the tree and fill it up a couple times a week, depending on the size of the tree, your soil conditions, the wind, the temperature. Yeah. These trees are going to use a lot more water in the summer, and you need to keep them watered for the first two growing seasons until they can root out. Because when you plant them, they're going to be in this soilless media, and you're going to have to keep that wet, very moist, until those roots can begin to root out into the surrounding soil. And it takes a little while for that to take place. And
is a growing you're talking about each spring, even though the tree will keep growing through the winter. That's not the second growing season.
No,
so it's the two full years of hauling water.
That's
count them 2 years of hauling water.
Too long.
Or irrigation.
Long years.
Yeah. And that's something to point out, too, is once those 2 years are over, or keep in mind, in the situation you were just talking about is at the end of your property, but a lot of people will they've got their lawn in the front yard and they want to plant a couple of trees. they plant a couple of trees and then just assume that the irrigation system that waters their lawn will carry enough water to cover those trees.
Oh, won't it?
And it won't. I mean, well, once they're established, it may keep them alive. But if you want the tree to grow, if you want it to grow as fast as it can, it needs all the water it can get, or
more than the sprinkler will do.
Yeah, more than the sprinkler will do.
It needs a very deep watering, at least once a week.
Yeah, so you need to take a hose and set it on that tree and just let it
drip,
saturate that area. Yeah, you don't need to pour it on there like a fire hose.
You
just need to let it run on that tree for several hours and really saturate the soil down deep in order for the tree to get its proper growth spurt and to really add caliper during its growing season.
So you need to do this like once a week, twice a week, or how often?
Or plan in your irrigation. If you're building a new home, you can also plan in your irrigation system to have something at those trees where it's tied into an irrigation system, and you can automate it just like your lawn.
At least once a week is when you need to do this. Okay. And to get back to our original topic of Xeriscape, one of the things you need to do is the best is run a drip irrigation system to any of your shrubs or plants. You need to do that because it in the overhead watering, you lose about 30% of your water to evaporation before it ever gets to the ground. If you add too much water at a time, that water runs off, and when it puddles, it evaporates.
All right, looks like we've got to take another break here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
YourCircleOfWealth.com. A recent study by one of the world's largest financial institutions estimates that over 90% of baby boomers will not retire financially independent. We have prepared a financial report entitled Your Circle of Wealth. Learn how changing the way you manage your money can dramatically increase your wealth. To get a copy, you may go to www.yourcircleofwealth.com and enter the passcode Gibson, Gibson. That's YourCircleOfWealth.com.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties with selections of interior and exterior lighting fixtures. They also have ceiling fans, vanities, and mirrors in all styles. A lighting consultant will help you with your decisions. To make an appointment with Fort Worth Lighting Consultant, you may call 817-597-6320 or visit us on the web at ftworthlighting.com. That's 817-597-6320. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guests today are Leon and Kevin Campbell with the Native Shade Tree Farm of Texas. And also my wife is here, Jean Gibson. She's over here waving. Make sure I see her.
You know, 2 weeks ago I had a title when you introduced me.
Well, yeah.
And I've forgotten what my title was, but I had a
My wife has a title for me, too.
Anyway, we've got four gift certificates to give away today. We've got two $100 gift certificates for the Native Shade Tree Farm. It's located at 7351 Farming Market Road, 1886 in Azle. These are two $100 gift certificates that you can use on, Kevin, you want to tell us about the gift certificates?
They're just $100 towards any purchase on our farm.
Okay. And so that's no matter what price tree they buy.
Right, right, absolutely.
Okay, what kind of...
Off any of our available species right now, it's $100 off.
What are the questions?
Let's go with question number one is what family of oak is not susceptible to oak wilt?
What family of oak is not susceptible to oak wilt? You can call us on 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. And it looks like we've got a caller already. No, not yet. Just 877-341-8950. And it's what oaks are not susceptible to oak wilt. All right, we were talking about Xeriscapes. The Xeriscape was actually a name coined in Denver, Colorado in 1978. And Xeriscape is also known as water-wise or water-smart landscaping. Looks like we've got a caller coming in. Welcome to the Master Builder Show. You're live. You got an answer for the question?
Was that the red oak family?
No. It's what oak trees are not susceptible to oak wilt. But that wasn't it. Sorry. Xeriscapes was coined, like I said, in Denver, Colorado in 1978, and it's actually a trademark, I think. Looks like we got another caller already. This is Jim Gibson on the Master Builder Show. You're live. You got an answer for
Hello,
it?
how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing very well.
That'd be Pin Oak?
Pin Oak? Hello, Kevin. Is that the right answer? No, sir. Not the right answer.
We're looking for a family of oak. Not a specific tree, but a family of oak.
Let me throw out a little hint here. There are two basically species of oak. They're not species, but families. That's a red oak and the white oak. Those are the two families. That's what we're looking for.
All right, caller. This is Jim Gibson, Master Builder Show. You got an answer to the question? Hello, caller. Look like we may have lost the caller. Sorry, try back. Anyway, we're talking about Xeriscapes. Like I said, it was coined in Denver, Colorado, 1978. Got another caller. Hello, caller. You're live on the Master Builder Show.
Good morning. Is it the Pin Oak or something? I wrote it down.
Well, it's a family of oak. The family. Do you know what the family is?
Is it the white oak?
It is a white oak.
That is correct.
All right. What is your name, ma'am?
Kathy Scott?
Kathy Scott. Do you know where the radio station is?
Yes.
All right, Kathy. We've got a $100 gift certificate here for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, people. We got another question.
We do. Question number 2 is, how do you treat a damaged red oak?
How do you treat a damaged red oak? You can call us at 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. This is also for a $100 gift certificate to the Native Shade Tree Farm. Looks like we've got, we're talking about Xeriscapes, Xeriscape's another term for it's water-wise or water-smart landscaping, and what you're doing is you're planting plants that are fairly native to the area, I guess, are
That is correct, Jim. One of the popular misconceptions.
All right, we've got another caller already. This is Jim Gibson. You're live on the Master Builder Show. You have an answer for us?
Yes, to keep it from damage and everything, you use pruner's paint.
Pruner's paint. Okay, that's correct. What is your name, sir?
It's 3C Berry.
3C Berry?
Yes.
Just 3C, like
yes, sir.
3C Berry.
The number 3 and the letter C, yes.
And number 3 and C. You know where the radio station is?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. We've got a $100 gift certificate for you. You'll come by and pick it up. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. We got the next questions are going to be for their $25 gift certificates for Home Depot. We've got 2 of those. You got another question for us, Kevin?
I do. It is number 3 is, why should you not allow heavy equipment near your trees during construction?
Okay, we talked about that earlier. So if you were listening, why shouldn't you allow heavy equipment driving around your trees or parking underneath your trees, underneath the canopy? There's certain reasons why we told you that you shouldn't do that, and that's what we're looking for.
Well, Leon started to say something, too.
Yeah.
What was that?
Right. As far as Xeriscape is concerned, many people have the notion that it is nothing but cactus and straggly desert plants and that sort of thing, and that's not true in this area.
All right, we've got another caller. Welcome. You're live on the Master Builder Show. Hello, caller.
Yes. You can pack the soil in and eventually kill the tree.
That is correct. What is your name, sir?
Troy Dickey.
Troy Dickey.
Yes.
Mr. Dickey, I've got you know where the station is?
Yes, I know where it's at.
All right, sir. We've got a $25 gift certificate Home Depot for you. Thank you very much. All right, Kevin, you got another question.
And last but not least is, how often do you need to water your trees?
How often do you need to water your trees? And I guess we need to stipulate, how do you water your trees, I guess. Would that also be part of it?
Sure.
How often and how should you water them? You were talking about xeriscapes. We're talking that you didn't need to plant cactus and just things that you think that would require no maintenance, because we were out in El Paso there. We saw a lot of gravel-type gardens.
That's right. You did. A lot of front yards were covered in gravel. You planted cactus, etc. Now around here, you don't have to do that. I'll elaborate on that in just a few minutes.
All right. We've got another caller. You're live on a Master Builder Show.
Yes. You water them once a week with just a water hose.
And how do you do it?
Let it soak in real deep.
Let it soak in real deep.
That's
All
right.
What is your name, sir?
Ronnie Keller.
Ronnie Keller. You know where the radio station is?
Sure.
All right, Ronnie. You got a $25 gift certificate to the Master Builder. I mean, to the Home Depot, not the Master Builder Show. We're the ones giving it away. But all right, sir. Come pick up your gift. Thank you. Okay. All right. So we can plant any kind of plants as long as they're water conserving plants and stuff, and they come in all shapes, sizes, colors.
Well, anything that grows in the wild in this part of Texas is, you can say, by definition, is drought tolerant because of the extremes we have around here. So as you drive along the road, anything you see growing out there could be considered a xeriscape plant in this area. Now, in El Paso, a xeriscape is going to be cactus and things like that. Down in Houston, you could grow a wide variety of plants and be in a xeriscape environment. They get plenty of rainfall, so it's not such a big deal. But everybody's getting short on water, especially all the metropolitan areas are scrambling for water sources. So everybody needs to conserve no matter where they are, so that you don't have some exotic in the area that in your planting scheme that's going to need a lot of water, and that includes grass. I'm not a turf guy, but this website that I mentioned, the Parker County Master Gardeners site, has a lot of information on water, the grasses that don't take much water, the perennials, flowers, and different things.
Well, they said that the zoysia grass, the buffalo grass, centipede grass, and stuff are really the best to use, I guess, around this area. We look like we've got to come up on another break here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
YourCircleOfWealth.com. A recent study by one of the world's largest financial institutions estimates that over 90% of baby boomers will not retire financially independent. We have prepared a financial report entitled Your Circle of Wealth. Learn how changing the way you manage your money can dramatically increase your wealth. To get a copy, you may go to www.yourcircleofwealth.com and enter the passcode Gibson, Gibson. That's YourCircleOfWealth.com.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving the building professional in Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties. The services include plan takeoff, site walkthrough, and delivery. To make an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, you may call 817-597-6320 or visit us on the web at ftworthlighting.com. 817-597-6320. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guests today are Leon and Kevin Campbell with the Native Tree Farm. I have to look every time. What is
Native
Shade Tree Farm? It's not Native Tree Farm, but Native Shade Tree Farm.
You could read their shirts.
I could read their shirts. You know, my eyes are getting bad as I get older. But anyway, there's 7 basic principles on Xeriscape. The first is going to be planning and design. You want to plan and design your plot. The second is soil analysis. You want to make sure you have your soil analyzed. Third is practical turf areas, and we're talking about the centipede grass, buffalo grass, zoysia,
which surprises me.
Well, the zoysia, I think it takes quite a bit of water to get it started. Once it's started, I think you just pretty well forget about it.
Well, another good grass is just plain native Bermuda.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of hybrids of Bermuda, and most of them take a lot, that I'm familiar with anyway, take quite a bit of water. But just plain old native Bermuda with a little water and a little fertilizer looks real good.
We've experimented with some of this TIF 419. I've planted that in quite a few of my properties that we started out, and we actually sodded it in, and it's Bermuda. And it
was a great runner.
It was a great runner, and what we did, we would plant it and then water it, I guess, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then after that we'd water it maybe every other week, and it got to where it was taking off pretty good. I mean, that's my experience with it. What about, have y'all experimented with any of the
we really
hybrids?
don't have anything to do with turf. When you mentioned TIF, years ago we lived in El Paso. We had a TIF green Bermuda, and of course this is 30 years ago. So I'm sure that many advances have been made in turf grasses, but on our farm we don't pay a whole lot of attention to our yards. I mean, we have a fairly nice yard, but
we're
tree guys. Trees. That's what we're doing most of the time.
Kevin, you want to tell us a little bit about your website and where to go to find y'all so that people can get all this good information?
Sure. Our website is www.nativeshade.com. And all that's up there right now is we've been redeveloping our website. All that's up there right now is some basic contact information. There's a map. You can go there to find a map of where we're located and our contact information. If you have any questions that you'd like answered about trees, there is a link on there that you can click on to send us an email, and there are also our phone numbers on there. We will be having more information coming relatively soon on the website. There's going to be a blog on there and some news, and there'll be where you can sign up for a newsletter and get seasonal information on new species and plants and all that kind of good stuff.
You're located up on Farm Market Road, 1886, out of Azle.
That's right.
If I was coming out of Weatherford going up 730, would that be the best way to come up?
If you're coming out of Weatherford, you'd take 730. About halfway to Azle, you would turn right on FM 1886, and we're 2 miles up on the left. Big 5x8 signs that say Native Shade Tree Farm. When you pass it, it's hard to miss.
So you're not that far from us here.
No, not at all. Okay. No, it's
about 20 minutes from the station here.
That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Kevin, why don't you talk about the show we're going to down the convention center here in about a month?
Oh, that's right. Coming up here pretty soon is the Fort Worth Home and Garden Show. That's February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd at the convention center. And we will be having a booth there, so stop by and see us. And we will be running some show specials. And that kind of thing. So you can stop by. Any of the listening audience out there wants to stop by and get a certificate for a show special to use at the farm. You can catch us at the convention center on February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah, we will have some of those Mexican white oaks there. We're very excited about that species.
And you'll be able to buy them at the show?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be doing some show specials. And one thing I want to mention is that while we are not officially landscapers, we do plant trees.
Oh, you do holes.
We do holes. Now, depending on your soil, wait a minute. I know what kind of soil you have. So I'm not so sure about that.
I'd buy a lot more trees if they came with holes.
Well, that's what we found is that we weren't really intending on doing that, but we have found that the trees we have trees of various sizes, and some of our larger trees. Homeowner goes, I'd love to have that tree in my lawn, but I don't want to put it there. So we do offer planting services. And like Dad just said, we're not landscapers.
If I was going to plant a tree, give me some tips on planting trees. We hear Howard Garrett and all them talking about not planting below the taper.
That's exactly right. And we're going to put that planting information up on our website as to how to go about planting the tree.
Yep.
And you
Proper care and feeding.
You want to dig a hole about twice as big as the ball of the tree.
Okay.
or until you run out of steam. But
Yeah, right. We've
and
got
that's where
rock
my
and
guys come in.
limestone.
I know that they're listening, and they're going to run me off the farm when I get back. But you want to.
They're hiding all the shovels.
Yeah. Well, I bought them a brand new shovel with a motor on it, so I don't know what they have to complain about.
And that's really cool. It's called a power shovel. That is a neat thing.
How neat.
It's a sharpshooter with a Tecumseh engine on it, and it is a digging fool.
Do y'all have any of those air shovels? Do they? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Air spade. They use high pressure air to clear out the.
To clear the root.
To clear the. Yeah, they're using it. And that, it looks like that's going to be it for today for our show.
Thanks for having us.
I've got more questions.
Very pleased to be here.
All right.
I am so glad to have met you, too. This is
you'll have to have
wonderful.
us back again soon.
I need trees and holes. Excuse me,
Tune
babe.
back in next Tuesday, 8 a.m. Right on the QXFM network. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.